Good morning. You know the good thing about Mother's Day, and since we have a very small crowd, it looks like obviously everybody's going to get more flowers this morning. Oh, we have eggs in the kitchen. They are for sale because they're from someone outside the church. Apparently prize-winning hens, and I mean, like, wow type stuff. This is from a Rhode Island Red. This one's not, and I have no... But they're huge, huge. So, $3. Yeah, and there's a ton of them in the kitchen. So, hey, it's Mother's Day. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day. My book is falling apart.
Oh no.
Does it? I think we're going to have to figure out something here. Okay, for over 2 centuries we have used the expression stealing thunder to mean appropriation of any device or plan originated by someone else. A little-known English dramatist by the name of John Dennis, 1657, coined the phrase. Dennis was educated at Harrow and at the Caius College in Cambridge. In 1680 he was fined and lost his scholarship for wounding with a sword a fellow student. He never had a successful play, never married, and became poor and blind in his last years. John Dennis did have one bit of success, though. He invented a new and effective way of simulating thunder on stage. One of his plays folded, and he discovered his thunder machine in use for a performance of Macbeth at the same theater. Dennis was furious. "See how these rascals use me," he cried. "They will not let my play run, and yet they steal my thunder." Now you know where that one came from. Things that make you go, If you're too young to know who that was Arsenio Hall that did that, so I liked Arsenio. Still do. We confess to little faults only to persuade ourselves that we have no great ones. Darn. It's impossible for a man to be cheated by anyone but himself. Truth is the safest lie. Has anybody been digging in the garden recently? I mean, there's plenty of good dirt out there. It's just nothing like it. Jelly beans did not become an East tradition until the 1930s. They were first made in America by Boston candy maker William Schraft, who ran advertisements urging people to send jelly beans to soldiers fighting in the Civil War. Who knew? We do have a couple of patron saints at the Divine Fellowship by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin.
Hey, John, George.
And they are both passed. I know John, we never met John, but we did meet George a couple times, and he knew who we were when he passed. Still was scratching his head, wondering, he just didn't understand us. But he knew who we were. John, you are not emotions. You have emotions, and you can master them. And George, I'm always relieved when someone is delivering a eulogy and I realize I'm listening to it. True. True. Okay, we've done these before, but every once in a while I've got to bring them back up again. And this was ladies writing church bulletins and maybe not reading them first before they put them out. The fasting and prayer conference includes meals. Scouts are saving aluminum cans, bottles, and other items to be recycled. Proceeds will be used to cripple children. Oops. Ladies, don't forget the rummage sale. It's a chance to get rid of those things not worth keeping around the house. Bring your husbands. Did I do this one? Yeah, I did that one. Murphy's Law. Light travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear brighter until they speak. A fine is a tax for doing wrong. A tax is a fine for doing well. He who laughs last thinks slowest. A day without sunshine is like, well, night. I saw this week and I absolutely love it. I have enlarged it and I'm going to put it on my wall in my office. And Jan and I we kind of looked at this and read it a couple of times. We go, yeah, you know, this might explain a lot of things about us. So, during our time on earth, the people that are true blessings to us are the ones who do not fall prey to our meager excuses, but call us to task. They are often incorrectly viewed as cold-hearted or arrogant, yet usually they are exactly the opposite. They're compassionate, caring, and humble. They know we can do much better than we are and are willing to take the flack from us to make it happen. Don't know if this is true or not. Thank you, Sandra. But it's a funny one anyway. Reportedly, a woman who was flying from Seattle to San Francisco, unexpectedly the plane was diverted to Sacramento. Along the way, actually I know tons of people in Sacramento Airport. I could call and verify this, but there you go. The flight attendant explained there would be a delay, and if the passengers wanted to get off the aircraft, the plane would be reboarded in 50 minutes. Everybody got off the plane except one lady who was blind. The man had noticed her as he walked by and could tell the lady was blind because her guide dog lay quietly underneath the seat in front of her throughout the entire flight. He could also tell she had flown this way before because the pilot approached her calling her by name. Said, "Kathy, we're in Sacramento for almost an hour. Would you like to get off and stretch your legs?" The blind lady said, "No thanks, but maybe Buddy would like to stretch his." If you can picture this, all of the people at the gate came to a complete standstill when they looked up and saw the pilot walk out of the plane with a guide dog for the blind. Even worse, the pilot was wearing sunglasses. People scattered. They not only tried to change planes, but they were also trying to change airlines. So. Yeah. Okay, high school reunion. Husband and wife were sitting at a table at his high school reunion. He kept staring at a drunken lady swigging her drink as she sat alone at a nearby table. The wife asks, "Do you know her?" "Yes," I replied. "She's my old girlfriend. I understand she took to drinking right after we split up all those many years ago, and I hear she hasn't sobered up since." "My God," said the wife, "who would think a person could go on celebrating that long?" So, ta-da! Sure.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I wasn't here last week. Joe and I were enjoying ourselves in Lincoln City for our anniversary, and so I've put together a couple of sign-up sheets for you. How many? 33. Yeah. The barbecue next week, the Divine Fellowship is going to supply the meat buns, and we need to get the rest of the stuff to go with it, so I have a sign-up sheet for the potluck. Please excuse the just notebook paper. I was out of work for this whole last week due to sickness, so I didn't get my sign-up sheets made, so I got notebook paper. So just name and what kind of dish you're going to bring. We need all the different side dishes to go with it. And then the other thing, the 30th, I'm going to be doing aura photography. Some of you have already heard about it. I have a sign-up sheet for it. I've got a really cool thing that's going to picture and everything that I've been working on, so you'll get a picture and a readout of different things, along with it. It's going to be really, really cool. So there's also a sign-up sheet for that. I need to know how many people are interested because I only have so much time in the day to do it. So we're going to try to fill in as many as we can. So I'll pass those around. I'll start one on one side and one on the other, and then make sure they come up to the front of the whichever way they went. Thank you.
Comment?
I have a couple of adult sons. They're great. They always have been. They're happy, productive, and very empathetic.
If you want to bring it up, Dan, up at the front. We do better passing back than we do passing forward. This side, I want to ask you, what's the hardest part about being a mama?
Everybody's passing it now.
Well, I don't know. The first thing that I've ever done.
Well, there's a lot of dads who have that role of mama. Hardest thing about being a mama.
Hardest thing about being a mom is realizing you made a lot of mistakes and there's nothing you can do to go back and change it. So feeling like a failure at times.
The hardest part for me was when I saw her make serious mistakes and be in pain and hurting, and I always wished I could take that away for her.
Actually, Lynn just stole my thought because that's exactly what I was going to say. The hardest part is watching them grow and stumble and fall, and knowing that the only thing I could do for them is just hold sacred space and let them work through it.
My daughter, to me, is a learning lesson.
Well said.
I have to learn to understand her, and it's very difficult.
I totally get you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
I think for me, the hardest part with my son was letting him go when it was time for him to go to college. Yeah.
Amen for that.
I guess I would have to say letting go too, just not being there for them all the time and having to have a distance. So.
I hear you on that one. Because here's the deal. Moms are a lesson, and our children are a lesson. Some people think that children are born to their parent, and it's some cosmic roulette wheel. DNA just falls into place, and there it is. Some people think that God put that parent and that child together. And some people think that they chose that particular parent to be born to be raised by. And some people think that it's some wacky combination thereof. So whatever helps you sleep at night, I don't care. Point is this. You are not your mother's clone, and your children are not your clone. And that's the hardest part, is to love them and let them be who they are. Because as mothers, we would move heaven and earth to make their world okay. And it's a hard thing to be able to go, well, what I think their world needs to be okay may not be what their world needs, that they think their world needs to be okay. That's what makes it a challenge. That's also what makes it beautiful. The challenge part is that we seek our children's approval, and sometimes it makes it hard for us to say, you're not wearing that. Because we really want them to be happy, right? You're not wearing that. You're not going there. You're not doing that. And at the same time, we want our children to be happy and healthy. Eat that vegetable. Just taste it. You don't have to eat another one as long as you live in this house, but you're going to eat it now. You're going to taste that. And you're going to be grateful for it, right? Am I right? Right, Mom? Don't we do that? Because it's hard being a mom, because we love them so much and we want them to be happy, but we also love them enough to say, nuh-uh, that's not how it is. That's not what you're doing. And to have that conflict, because they're going to be different than us. They're going to like things different than us. I think my son would have fared much better with a different mom. I'm kind of a little girly girl and kind of frail, and I tried to ride motorcycles with the guys. I had my little, 125, I think. They tore off through the countryside, and they were having a blast. And I'll sit here by this tree, and 2 hours later, they come by, catch me up, and Anyway, so, maybe he'd have done better with a different mom. But you know what? I was the mom that happened for him. Whether God did it, cosmic chaos did it, or he chose me. I don't know. But we were really good for each other. I learned so much from that guy. A ton of stuff I didn't want to learn. But I'm a better person for it. I'm a much better person for it. I wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't have those experiences. Our children are powerful lesson bringers for us. And it's hard because it's like, nobody wrote a book saying, if you have a child with this personality, here's how you treat them in this circumstance. There's no handbook. The cord is cut when they're born and you're on your own. They're breathing on their own, they're thinking on their own, they're living on their own, and you don't stop loving. So that's the challenge, is this need for their approval, and they need our approval. And that makes it hard, because cosmically, that's not what moms do. Approval is not what moms do. Now think about that. Think about that for a second. What moms really do is they give you acceptance and appreciation. If you're accepted into the clan, you're nurtured, you're encouraged, that acceptance is the energetic key. Sometimes we get that from our mothers, and sometimes we don't. But energetically, acceptance is what keeps us striving for their approval if we don't feel that acceptance. Because that's what our soul longs for. So I have a process today. It's a 3-part process today. Because I want us to take a look at energetically restoring that acceptance that either we got or we didn't get from our parents. That we gave or we didn't give to our children. Because the key here is that energetically, when we feel accepted, sky's the limit. Sometimes I have a thing that I'll do. I'll come in, let me just behold you. Let me just look at you. Remember me doing that? That's giving you acceptance right where you are. No matter what's going on in your life, I am beholding you. And holding you in sacred acceptance. You don't have to do anything for me to accept you. You don't have to be anything. You exist. Because here's the deal. When you were born, you took on the breath of life. You did that. You took a breath. That makes you worthy of divine attention. That makes you worthy of divine consideration. Whether you feel worthy or not doesn't make it any less so. You're breathing now. That makes you worthy of this divine attention. And the same thing, we struggle sometimes trying to get God's approval. When that's not what we want. That's not what our soul longs for. Our soul longs for that divine acceptance. And once you have that and know that and experience that, divine acceptance changes everything. Then you're not struggling and, well, what if I do this? Is God going to love me if I do that? Is God going to love me if I do that? You can let all that stuff go. And you can do what's in your heart, what you came here to do, and know that God loves you no matter what. So I have a process for us. This is like a walking guided meditation, because we're going to do some stuff with the guided meditation. Hold on. Seeing if there's something else I need to be saying here. Apparently there is. We're going to wait a second. Okay, let me just talk about something else. Maybe it'll come through. There's a 3-part process here. So the first part of this process you're going to be gifted with a rose. And I want us to appreciate the rose, and I want you to accept the rose. Now, this is complicated. It's not easy. Because what I want you to do, maybe you look at the rose and go, oh, it's pink. I love pink. That's giving it your approval. I don't want you to do that. I want you to give it appreciation. Look at your pink color. That's beautiful. Not because you have a preference for it, but because it is. Oh, look, you have a little damaged leaf there. I wonder what's up with that. I love you just the way you are. I want you just to appreciate the rose. Now, here's the deal. Lynn, will you help me here? We're going to hand these roses out. And I'm going to hand it to the, we're going to, so hand it to the person on the aisle, and you pass it down to the end till everybody gets one. So just like maybe you were adopted, or maybe you lived in a foster home, doesn't come directly from the source, whatever the source is, you can still receive it, still be gifted with it, and still accept it and know that it is a divine gift. So you can just start handing them out and focus on these, and I'll be right back with part 2. She's more efficient than me. Look at that. What a concept. Notice if you got your favorite color or you didn't. Some of these have thorns. Be careful. Some of them are hanging on to each other. Oops, I dripped, sorry. That one's a little drippy. You okay with that? Oops, excuse me. And look at all the little rose petals everywhere. How fun is that? No thorns on yours? Did everybody get one? Now, as you're appreciating your rose, appreciating the fragrance, I'll set there. Part 2. If you can imagine an energetic rose in your heart space, this is this part of you that opens spiritually, that acknowledges your own self-worth. This is your heart space. You can acknowledge that there's a rose there and allow it to open. As you're sending appreciation to this rose in your hand, appreciating its beauty for just as it is, Doesn't have to be perfect. And it may or may not be exactly like the one in your heart space. Maybe it's the same color, maybe it's not. Maybe you perceive a color, maybe you don't. But as you appreciate this rose, rose is the highest energetic vibration of any flower or any plant on the planet. As you send appreciation to this rose, this energetically is going to send appreciation back to you. Accept it with deep appreciation. Receive that. You don't have to earn it. It's a gift. This is as if divine spirit, God, higher power, whatever that is for you, is acknowledging for you your worth. Whoever you are, whatever choices you make, perfect or imperfect, matters not. Thorns or without thorns, matters not. Because the role of this divine energy of mother is to give you love and appreciation and help you be strong enough to make your own choices, to protect yourself, to appreciate yourself, to allow yourself to receive appreciation from others. So acknowledge the rose and allow that rose to feed to you this appreciation. And receive that as divine appreciation. That you're appreciated just for who you are. Whatever's going on in your life, whatever choices you've made, if you wished you'd make a different one, where you are right here, right now, you're here for a reason. And whatever person that played the role of physical mother for you, whatever role however they did that, right, wrong, good, or bad, you survived. You're a survivor. And you're here for a divine purpose. And when we can access this appreciation, this divine, sacred appreciation, the sky's the limit. What does your heart want to do? But it comes from here. So let this loving expression of divine love connect with your heart space and feed you. Mothers are all about nourishing and feeding. Let this rose feed back to you things that maybe you've forgotten. Have you forgotten how wonderful you are? Have you forgotten what a joy you are? Have you forgotten what a delight you are? We forget. We forget. We got caught up in, I should have done that, I could have done that. When you hear yourself say, shoulda, coulda, woulda, oughta, gotta, must, always, have to, and never, you're in judgment of yourself. Let it go. And in this moment, appreciate who you are, where you are, however you got here. You're here. Now, part 3. This is a sacred reminder for you, sacred reminder for me, to express and extend that acceptance and appreciation for others. In every sacred relationship, there's challenges. But this reminds us to hold other people in acceptance, not necessarily in approval, but in acceptance. I can accept you are where you are. I don't have to approve of the decisions that you've made. I don't even have to like them. But I can accept this is your choice. And I can accept that you are your own person. You're not a Janice clone. Thank God, one is enough of me. But you are your own sacred being. And I can love and appreciate you just because of that. Whether you receive that appreciation from the person that played the role as your mother on this physical plane or not. Receive it for yourself and remember to give it to others. Does that make sense? So now I really want to do a guided meditation. That was a guided process. Let's do a guided meditation before we go on. Comments or questions? You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, deep breath in. No, and if you haven't exhaled, do that. I'm assuming that you figured that part out. Another deep breath in. And exhale. One more deep breath in. And exhale. From this place of being centered, from this heart space, this sacredness, this place of accepting oneself. Allow your attention now to move to your feet. There are energy portals at the bottoms of your feet, and if you can be aware of them, if you can just be mindful of them, they'll open like the eyes of a camera. As they open, any unwanted energy can just drain out the bottoms of your feet. Unwanted energy of feeling unappreciated, unaccepted, feeling disapproval. Just let that go. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Bring your attention now to the top of your head. And there's an energy portal there that will connect you. This is the soft spot of the baby's head. When a baby's born, it's soft there. This is because the skull is growing, the brain is growing. It gives the babies room to grow. So too you have an energetic portal here that allows you to spiritually grow. And as you're mindful of this, this opens like the eye of a camera. And this allows you to connect in to divine energy, whatever that might be for you. And as you allow that energy to flow into the top of your head, you may perceive it as a color. Perhaps it's golden or white or sparkly or blue or green. Whatever energy that is right for you is the energy you will perceive today. And as you receive that light, that living light of love, accept it. Receive that gift. And let that energy touch your mind and bring to you an awareness of how much you are accepted and loved and appreciated. Letting more and more love and light fill your eyes so you can see the truth of that. See that reflected back to you in everyday life. Letting more and more love and light fill your ears and your mouth and your throat. This gives you the ability to speak your truth and the ability to hear someone else's truth without necessarily taking it on as your own. And knowing that your truth is sacred to you. Bringing more and more love and light into your shoulders. We carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. Sometimes this approval will make us tighten up. This search for approval, this need to please other people. So you can just let that go. Roll over your shoulders and just release that. Let that energy just flow away from you. And let it drain out the bottoms of your feet. Don't need to carry that. You have the approval that is necessary for you. You have divine approval. And if you have self-approval, that's a winning combination. Bringing more and more love and light into your arms and into your hands. This will empower you to do the work you came here to do. Bringing more and more love and light into your torso. Letting that living light of love touch every organ, every system, every tissue, every fiber, every cell of your being. Even down into the cells, even down into the DNA. Receiving that loving connection Just as a mother connects with its baby, you now connect energetically with Divine Source, and you feel that connection fully. You feel the love because you are love. Letting more and more love and light flow into your legs and down into your feet. Let that love flow through you into the earth. You're a conduit of that loving expression of divine light, divine acknowledgement in this physical form. It feels good to be a conduit of that light. It's part of what you came here to do. Let it flow through you. And anyone who is ready can tap into that and have that source. It will bless them and ground them and heal them. And I hereby acknowledge you for that loving gift. And now take a deep breath in and exhale and close the bottoms of your feet, the portals at the bottoms of your feet. Letting more and more love and light fill your torso and fill the energy field that surrounds your body. You are light. You are love. You are surrounded by love, and it is your energetic signature. It is who you are. And with that sense of loving connection, allow yourself to find your way to a garden. There's many flowers in this garden. Some are roses, some are peonies, some are irises. And you will intuitively be drawn to a flower that is just right for you. And notice, is it a bud really closed, or is it open full? Or is it somewhere in between? Whatever you experience of that is what is right for you and may have symbolic significance for you. As you get closer to this flower, notice what color it is. Notice if it's growing on a healthy bush or a healthy plant, or if it's not. And as you look closer at this, you see that there is a gift for you here. Perhaps it's in the dirt. Perhaps it's hanging on a branch. Perhaps it's wrapped around the plant itself. Some symbolic object will be here for you. Receive that gift with gratitude, knowing that it may have symbolic significance for you. And you have a gift to give this flower, this plant. Perhaps it's water. Perhaps it's pruning away some trees that block the sunlight. Perhaps it's some fertilizer. Whatever you feel is a gift to give back, you will intuitively know what that is. Pulling some weeds, perhaps. Give your gift to this flower now. And know that it has symbolic information for you. And with the giving and receiving of gifts, allow yourself to find your way back out of this garden and back into the here and now. You might want to take a deep breath in and exhale and stretch a bit. Maybe your fingers before your toes. It's kind of a quick trip. Might take a moment to return. Anyone have a question about the symbolism in their guided meditation? Why don't you leave it on, Shannon?